Welcome to XIO Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 147. The expulsion of the Ice Zoon force from the little fairy doctor's body took nearly 4 days of Xiao Yan's time. Xiao Yan had mixed around 100 types of medicinal ingredients' medicinal strength into the water during these 4 days. After which, he allowed the little fairy doctor to absorb all of them into her body. Only then was the Ice Zoon force, hidden in her body, gradually forced out. Due to this, Xiao Yan felt that the Ice Zoon force of the Ice River Valley was troublesome to deal with. However, this special Do Qi that could only be practiced after one had reached the strength of a Do Zong did indeed have extraordinary aspects. Xiao Yan was seated cross-legged on a stone within the warmly lit mountain cave. A wooden tub with rising heat was in front of him. The wooden tub was filled with a bright red medicinal liquid. The little fairy doctor was seated within it. She bit her lower red lip with the back of her teeth and droplets of perspiration formed while carrying some cold air. After which, they rolled down her face and fell into the wooden tub. The perspiration was subsequently scattered by the heat within the medicinal liquid. At this moment, most of the medicinal liquid within the wooden tub had been absorbed. Hence, the little fairy doctor's smooth shoulders had been revealed. The medicinal liquid dripped onto one and quietly rolled down. She appeared like a top-quality suet jade, causing one to feel an unwillingness to part with her. A faint fog rose from the wooden tub. A couple of threads of snow-white hair fell onto little fairy doctor's forehead. They set off her pretty face, that was dripping some sweet perspiration, causing her to appear exceptionally enchanting. Her grayish-purple eyes gently blinked, releasing an unusually shocking allure. Bright red medicinal strength surged into the little fairy doctor's body from the wooden tub. This continued for a long time before her lovely body suddenly shook. Her small mouth widened and a small ice cube, formed from cold air, shot out of her mouth and struck an enormous rock in the cave. Immediately, that piece of rock was covered by a thick layer of ice amid a cracking sound. The paleness on the little fairy doctor's face diminished after this tiny ice cube left her body. A sleek red color slowly appeared. Xiao Yan, who was training with his eyes shut, quickly opened them to this commotion. He saw the little fairy doctor's expression as he involuntarily rejoiced. He asked, "Has the Ice Zoon force been removed from your body?" The little fairy doctor smiled sweetly and nodded. "That's good. This thing is troublesome to deal with. I have tried nearly 100 types of medicinal ingredients in order to concoct a suitable medicinal strength." Xiao Yan sighed in relief when he saw her nod. He immediately sighed in relief and smiled as he said, "Since the Ice Zoon force had been removed, you should not be in a serious condition. The injuries in your body are a small matter now. I have the confidence to help you swiftly recover." The little fairy doctor nodded once again. She did not doubt Xiao Yan's pill refinement abilities at all. Can you turn around first?" The little fairy doctor's eyes turned away. A bright redness suddenly flew onto her pretty face as she softly asked. Xiao Yan was initially startled when he heard this. Immediately, he gave her an embarrassed smile and hurriedly turned around. He twisted his head to one side as he did so. The little fairy doctor quietly sighed in relief after seeing Xiao Yan turn around as he had been told. She bit her lower red lip with the back of her teeth and moved her lovely body. Her hand moved as her body rose from the wooden tub and a clean, white-colored dress flew out of her storage ring. Within an instant, it wrapped around her perfect, clean body. "I'm done." Xiao Yan only turned around after hearing her gentle voice escape her lips from behind him. He looked at the lady, who appeared exceptionally fresh in a white-colored dress, and an amazed expression involuntarily flashed past his eyes. The little fairy doctor's current demeanor was just like when Xiao Yan had met her for the first time back in Qingshan town. She was just like a piece of jade that warmed one's heart. The current her was truly like the little fairy doctor from back then. She was viewed as a goddess in the hearts of those mercenaries from Qingshan town and not the poison sect poison lady from the Chu Yun Empire, a name everyone feared. Xiao Yan slowly withdrew the surprise in his eyes and involuntarily felt a little pleased. The period of time in the Chu Yun Empire was likely the darkest period in the little fairy doctor's heart. Even with his company later on, she still appeared a little quiet. Clearly, she was influenced by her memories of that time. However, when Xiao Yan saw her today, this girl, who had a desolate and pitiful background, appeared to have begun to walk away from the shadow of her memory during that period of time. The current her was truly the little fairy doctor whom Xiao Yan was acquainted with back then. "What are you looking at?" The little fairy doctor curled her pretty eyes a little as she softly laughed. Her beautiful eyes danced. Looking at a beauty, Xiao Yan teasingly laughed, after which, he leapt down from the large rock and landed beside the little fairy doctor. He grabbed the other party's snow-white wrist, shut his eyes, and once again began to probe the injuries within her body. The little fairy doctor's pretty eyes looked at the young face in front of her. This face might not be as young nor as handsome as those she had seen over the years, but he was just like good wine as it seeped into one's heart, causing one to feel exceptionally warm. "Thank you," the little fairy doctor muttered to herself using a soft voice only she could hear. Immediately, a faint warm smile was lifted on her pretty face. This smile was different from the past. At this moment, it seemed that something was added to it, causing this pretty smile to appear even more alluring and warm. Xiao Yan had shut his eyes. He slowly opened them a moment later and said to the little fairy doctor with a grin, "The situation is much better than I had thought. Take this medicinal pill. You should be able to recover to your peak within 2 to 3 days." Xiao Yan took out a round medicinal pill from his storage ring and handed it to the little fairy doctor. The little fairy doctor extended her hand and took the medicinal pill. She slightly nodded. It seemed that she could be much more relaxed with Xiao Yan beside her. "How is your woeful poison body?" Xiao Yan's glanced at the little fairy doctor's expression and suddenly asked a question. "I'm all right. However, there should only be 2 to 3 months until it erupts. I am able to sense it." The little fairy doctor smiled. That causal manner of hers appeared as though she was speaking about something else. "This is all right." Xiao Yan intently frowned. His voice involuntarily dipped. He was a little unhappy about the attitude the little fairy doctor used to treat herself. The little fairy doctor slightly smiled after appearing to have heard the displeasure in Xiao Yan's voice. She softly said, "Even if the poison body really erupts and attacks my consciousness, I will definitely still recognize you at that time." The memory of the person in front of her occupied a large portion of her life. He was her first friend, and her only good friend that she acknowledged from her heart. This simple friend seemed to have deviated into something else within her heart. His weight in her heart had become heavier. "You are really only speaking nonsense. Relax, I will obtain the monster core of the sky poison dragon scorpion beast within these 2 to 3 months. At that time, I will be able to allow you to completely control the woeful poison body." Xiao Yan helplessly shook his head as he promised. Although he already possessed a rank 6 monster core of the sky poison dragon scorpion beast in his storage ring, it did not satisfy the requirements. Unless he really ended up reaching that stage, Xiao Yan did not intend to risk using it. After all, this was related to whether or not the little fairy doctor would live or die. Sky poison dragon scorpion beast. The little fairy doctor's pretty eyes blinked when she heard this. A strange expression surfaced on her face. She hesitated for a moment before saying, "If it is the sky poison dragon scorpion beast, we will be able to find one in this fallen god stream." Xiao Yan was startled. A wild joy suddenly appeared on his face as he asked, "What rank is it at?" "Rank 7, I think. It is able to transform into a human form." Little fairy doctor softly replied. "You have seen it? Where?" The wild joy in Xiao Yan's eyes became denser as he hurriedly asked. "Poison objects roam the interior of the fallen god stream. It does not lack poison magical beasts with terrifying strengths. This place possesses some magical beast factions scattered around. Moreover, the sky poison dragon scorpion beast is coincidentally an overlord of this fallen god stream." The little fairy doctor's hand parted a thread of snow-white hair on her forehead. The strange expression on her face became even more prominent as she said, "Not long after I entered the fallen god stream, I met that sky poison dragon scorpion beast. That fellow was like a lunatic after seeing me. He repeatedly howled, wanting to capture me to be his woman. Back then, I was seriously injured and did not wish to get entangled with that maniac. All I could do was think of a way to escape." Xiao Yan was stunned. He looked at the strange expression on the little fairy doctor's face with surprise. A moment later, he could not help but shake his head. He laughed, feeling that the entire situation was comical. "Looks like your charm is too much to handle. Even a magical beast has become crazily attracted to you. He even wishes to capture you to make you his wife. What is there to laugh about? That fellow clearly fancies the woeful poison body." A bright redness surfaced on the little fairy doctor's face as she chided when she heard Xiao Yan's teasing. Xiao Yan ceased laughing, aware that the little fairy doctor was right. His eyes revealed an excited expression as he said, "What is that large fellow's strength like?" "I never exchanged blows with him. However, it is likely that his strength is even greater than Bing Fu and the others. Based on my guess, he should have reached the 8-star Do Zong level." The little fairy doctor voiced her thoughts. "An 8-star Do Zong, huh?" Xiao Yan nodded in acknowledgement. Fortunately, it was not a bone that he could not chew. "You should recuperate first. Once your injuries are completely healed, we will attack that sky poison dragon scorpion beast. If we can obtain its monster core, the problem of the woeful poison body will be completely resolved." Xiao Yan mused for a moment before waving his hand and announcing his decision. The little fairy doctor gently nodded when she heard his words. The woeful poison body was a large stone that had been pressing on her heart for a long time. It would naturally be best if she could completely resolve it. Before this, I will also need to make some preparations and ensure that no accidents will occur. Xiao Yan smiled. His body moved, and he once again sat on the rock. An excited expression flashed across his dark black eyes. He really wanted to know just what level the little fairy doctor would reach after completely controlling her woeful poison body. Would she leap to the Do Zun class? If that was possible, would he not possess 2 elite Do Zuns beside him, including Tian Huo Zun J? Even Xiao Yan could not help but feel his emotions surge when he thought of this. In the past, he never would have expected 2 extraordinary experts to gather beside him.